So you've just dropped a not insignificant amount of money on your ROG Ally X, and now you're thinking, maybe I should protect this thing before I drop it and end up in a pool of tears. So you do some looking online, and everywhere you look, you find this. The Dbrand Killswitch is recommended. Is it really the best protection for your Ally X, or just another overpriced piece of gear? At least, that's what I asked myself. So I put my wallet on the line and bought the full kit and caboodle, or the travel kit as they call it. And today, we're going to see if it really is the best that you can get for your money. To start at the beginning here, we need to talk about the unboxing, which is probably one of the best unboxing experiences I've ever had for a piece of protection for one of my devices. The box itself actually feels super nice in hand, and opening it actually feels like you're opening an extremely premium product. Lifting the lid of the box, you are immediately greeted to the travel cover and case itself in the bottom of the box, which we will get into soon. But on the underside of the lid, we have a little pocket that holds your chosen skin, and a sleeve that had some documentation, a microfiber cloth, and in my instance, a secondary skin that I've placed back into the little pocket here. Taking the case out of the box, we have a slot in which your stick grips are held. Moving on to the case itself, we have, well, the front cover, which is a hard plastic. We can take that off now and have a look at the case. That has these two peculiar tabs on the bit that covers the bumpers, which are actually pretty important for the installation process, but we'll get into that a little bit later. With the front cover off now and the case in hand, the first thing that you notice by far is the grip texture, which is kind of strange at first, kind of like a rubberized sandpaper, if that makes sense. And surprisingly, it feels pretty sturdy even without the Ally X installed. But that's probably because it's not just this softer, flexible plastic, but also has this hard plastic panel on the back that's also part of the venting for the fans. Let's get the Ally X into here before we go too far though. Talking about the installation process, this is by far the worst experience of this whole case. I won't go over it entirely here since Dbrand themselves have made a video showing you how to put it on, which I do recommend watching. With that being said though, I do want to mention, since the case is made to fit so snugly and has portions that wrap around the Ally X itself, you essentially have to stretch it over the triggers and bumpers to get it to fit, which was not a fun time at all. Also, for me to take it off of the Ally X to put it back in the box for this video, I felt like at any moment I was either one, going to snap the case, or two, I was going to break the triggers or the bumpers somehow. Putting on the stick grips is really easy though. Just lift the lip, place it on the thumbstick, and then fold the lip back down. And that's the stick grip installed. Now that it's actually installed, this case feels extremely premium. Again, the grip texture on this thing is kind of awesome. It genuinely feels like it itself is grabbing onto your hand. Looking closer, we have these shiny raised plastic parts that look nice, but in use, I haven't really noticed them. I think they're purely there for aesthetics since I don't notice them affecting the grip feel. You can see here on the front, we have pretty full coverage and protection of the Ally X, unlike the Skull & Co grip case. I really like these parts that go over the front of the Ally where your palm sits. It also just makes it feel like the Ally is really well protected. Looking at the back now, we have a better look at the stand that is included and flips out. And yeah, it works pretty well as a stand. It's slightly annoying to me though that we have one solid stand position. I would have liked to have seen other spots that the stand hinge could stop at, but that's just nitpicking. On the underside of the stand, interestingly, we have two slots that we can store micro SD cards in. The rest of the back portion is pretty bare. The cutouts for the back buttons are super accurate, and it's been slimmed down around them so they still protrude and aren't recessed into the case uncomfortably. Then we have this rectangular-ish vent for the ROG Ally X to be able to breathe. Looking at the top, the premium feel continues. All of the vent cutouts line up perfectly, plenty of access room for your two USB-C ports. The volume rockers feel really nice, since there is a button built into the case itself rather than relief slots cut out to be able to press them. To be able to get your micro SD cards in and out, and for the 3.5mm jack. I will point out though, for the power and fingerprint scanner, I wish it was scalloped more on the front of the device so that my finger doesn't feel the edge of the case when I do press that button. Again, this is just a nitpick and not a huge deal, but for the price of this case, it would have been nice to see. And finally, the molding around the triggers and bumpers lines up nicely. And while we're looking around the case, I should probably mention the stick grips here too, and have a bit of a closer look. The dotted grip in the middle is nice and holds your thumb well, and there is this raised lip around the border of the stick with grippy lines that run around the circumference as well. And then lastly, I should probably mention the front cover. It's a solid piece of plastic that feels super rugged, and clipping it onto the case feels super secure. There's still access for the charging port though, and flipping it around, the triggers are fully enclosed also, which is a really nice feature. Going into how it actually is to use this case on the daily, I'm going to start with a bit of a rant. and something I could just not like at all, even though I wanted to. And that's the stick grips. These things just kind of suck. They work well, I suppose, and look good adding to the aesthetics of the Ally X, but they're just super uncomfortable to use long term. The raised lip that runs around the grips is just plain uncomfortable to me. I don't know about you, but to me, I kind of want to not notice the thumbsticks while you're playing games, but with these, that is kind of impossible. I'm constantly aware of the hard lip and the feeling of it digging into my thumbs. Oh, and did I mention that they cost an additional $10 for a single pair of the stick grips? $10 for this small piece of rubber that's just plain uncomfortable to use, which is such a shame because the rest of this stuff from Dbrand is actually spectacular. The case itself is actually a pleasure to use. The grip feels really nice and it's extremely comfortable. I should mention that although the grip does feel awesome, it can be a little bit of a dust magnet due to the texture. Since it's sandpaper-like, it does grab onto dust pretty easily, but it's pretty easy to clean off if it does bother you. I love the fact that Dbrand was smart enough to put a little bit of extra thought into the volume rocker as well, so that it's not annoying or an extra effort to depress those buttons. The extra bit of protection that runs along the face of the Ally X gives me a sense of confidence that the Ally won't get damaged severely from a drop. The stand feels extremely sturdy and is implemented extremely well, though I do wish that they included the modularity that they had with the Steam Deck Killswitch. Being able to swap the stand out for a strap to hold a hard drive or a battery would be a nice option. Also, randomly having 2 of the 4 SD card slots removed from the stand was an interesting choice too, I think. I also just kind of wish that it would open more to allow for a more obtuse standing angle, so that when you're playing at a desk or a table, you don't really have to hold the weight of the Ally X. I'll be honest, these are realistically just nitpicks, since there is so much that is good with the case. It just feels like some things were just overlooked and when other things were so well thought out and implemented so well. The hard front cover is super simple admittedly, but it's executed extremely well. Fits snugly and makes the Ally X feel like a fortress. I could drop the Ally X with a hard cover on and feel pretty comfortable that it would take no damage. It's perfect for if you're going to chuck the Ally X into a bag with some other loose junk and not want to have to worry if something's going to scratch or break the screen. Putting it on and taking it off is relatively easy also, but like I mentioned, it's a pretty snug fit. And just look at this thing. You can't tell me that it doesn't look gorgeous with the case and the skin on. Pockets are deep or looking for a beating and you want the best for your Ally, this is the case to buy. The Dbrand Killswitch with the front cover and the stick grips costs a total of $79.95 USD, which is not a small amount of money at all when it comes to a case for one of your devices. Interestingly though, when I was writing this video, I was looking to see if you could save yourself some money by not buying the stick grips, which I just didn't like. The price difference is only 5 cents between getting their travel kit, which includes both the travel cover and the stick grips, or the essential kit and then adding the travel cover. So for only 5 cents, you could get yourself the grips and decide for yourself if you like them. I should also mention that this price is also before shipping. Everything else that is included is truly top notch and feels premium in hand, and is an absolute joy to use. I like so much about this case, and most of it is so well thought out that the few shortcomings that I did have are realistically only nitpicks. I'm generally kind of annoyed with how much I like this case. Dbrand knocked it out of the park with this one, and it's a pretty much one and done solution for the Ally X. I could probably see if you have larger hands, this one may not be the case you want, since it doesn't really add much material in the way of enhancing the ergonomics, but for me and my medium-sized hands, it works extremely well. My hands don't fatigue quickly at all, and the entire experience is really quite comfortable. Something I didn't talk about too much in the bulk of this review was the skins also, since when you buy the case, you have your pick of dozens of skins to choose for your own liking. The fit of the skin though is pretty well perfect, and applying it was super easy too. And if you have a look on the Dbrand website, I'm sure you will find a skin that you jive with that will transform the look of your Ally X. It is truly a beauty and kind of just fun to look at propped up on the stand on my coffee table. Next, I think I want to do a comparison between the Killswitch and the grip case, since I see these two as like the definitive options for the Ally X and give some pros and cons of each. So make sure you click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on that. I just want to say thank you so much for watching and making it this far into the video. You're an absolute legend. And make sure you like the video if you liked. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions or just want to say good day. Stay beautiful, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Peace.